Okay, the first thing we're going to do before you cape out your deer, you go ahead and get you an eye to nose measurement. It's real simple. You just lock your calipers into the front of the eye socket right against the bone. Just touch the tip of the nose and measure the distance that you have from the front of the eye to the tip of the nose. And on this deer, it would be 7.5 inch eye to nose. Okay. You don't need a whole lot of tools to cape out the deer. You need a good sharp knife, a screwdriver, maybe heavy steel to sharpen your knife, and that's about it. Unless you're doing the burr to burr, which I do burr to burr incision. This is what I use to take my antlers out. But on this particular one, we're going to do a Y, and we'll start off here with the mouth. Hope you can see. Try to get it where you can see. Start off at the top lip right here to where the lip meets the palate, which is the bony structure. You're going to make you an incision right there to start with, just like that. Then you go down, try to get you some light here. You go down on the inside right against the palate, and you're going to cut that skin loose all the way up. And you're going to meet where you made that little incision at the top. And as you can see, we're leaving all this skin right here because you need that skin to tuck back into your mannequin. Okay, we'll release that. So far, that's what you got. It's opened up all the way down past the corner of the mouth. We'll do the same thing over here. Go in, cut the skin loose, and come back up and meet that cut. And so now you've got skin released all the way around. And then you're going to go in right here at the front of the lip, down close to the palate, and cut through the septum, the cartilage, which is down at the bottom of the inside of the nostril. And you need all this skin that's inside this nostril to tuck back in. So you don't want to cut up too high and get into that skin. So you're going to cut down sort of low, about like that. And then you can go and start opening that up. All right, you get it opened up, and now I'm down past the nostrils, and I'm going to cut through this cartilage. You got to be careful, because if you cut too deep, you'll cut through the skin. So once you see that you're through the cartilage, quit cutting there. You'll go right into the skin. Okay. All right, now I'm through the cartilage, and I can go ahead and peel this back. Okay. Now we'll stop there for right now and get the bottom lip. And on the bottom, it's basically the same thing. Let's see if I can readjust here a little bit. You're going to get right against this jawbone, and you're going to cut this skin loose, just like you did on the top. Come all the way around up to the front lip. And you can start in the front or the side, it doesn't really make any difference. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing over here. Probably not going to be able to see it, but I'm just going to cut right against that jawbone, all the way to the front of the lip. Okay, and as you can see, I left all this skin here on the inside. So like I said, you're going to have that skin later to tuck into your mannequin. And now right here at the front of the lip, you're going to cut right up close to the teeth, because you need this skin too, and cut all this loose. Okay. Now when you get to that point, you can just go ahead and skin this back. Okay. Okay. Now I can skin this a little bit more here. Now when I get to this point, I go ahead on the sides of the corners, rather, the mouth, and I go ahead. Now you're going to have this skin right here to tuck into the mannequin, but you don't need all this that's down in the mouth. So I go ahead at this point and just cut through these muscles and these tendons and all, and I leave about a ½ inch of skin right there. And the reason I do this is so when I come back the other way, I don't have a tendency to cut through the corner of the mouth right here. If this is already loose, then when I come back the other way, I won't be taking that chance. Okay, now same thing over here. I'm just leaving, like I said, about a ½ inch or so of skin there in the corner of that mouth, because you're going to have that. Okay, now the mouth, as you can see, is completely detached from the skull. All right, the Y incision here is just exactly what it implies. You're going to make a Y cut, and you're going to come down no further than you have to. Now, like I said, I've already taken every bit of the neck out of this deer. It's out all the way up to the back of the skull. Okay. When you make your Y cut, you want to start you don't want to start way up here in the middle. You want to come back about halfway between the middle and the back of the antler burr. If you come back way back here and start your incision, it makes it awful hard when it comes time to sew it back. So start about halfway between here and the very back. And put your knife in at the antler burr and work it under the skin. You'll feel it when it goes under. And turn your knife up under the skin, and that way you're not cutting any hair. Come back about middle of the back of the skull right there and stop. And as you can see, now that's opened up. Now come back up here where you started and make sure that skin's completely cut loose from the top of the antler burr. You'll be able to tell when it lets loose. Okay. Now you're gonna come over here and you're gonna do the same thing. Okay, now I'm going to take my finger and I'm going to put where this is at and try to get this cut to go to make that top of the Y. And I want it to come out where that other one stops, just like that. Okay. Okay. And again, I'm going to go over here and make sure that this is cut all the way loose from the antler burr. Okay, now I'm just going to meet right here in the middle of this V. We'll come down the back of the neck, just past the back of the skull, and stop right there. Don't go any further than that. Now I'm going to come up here and start opening this up around these antler burrs just a little bit. Just get it started with your knife. Don't try to go all the way around with your knife, because you're going to end up losing a lot of hair on there that does not need to be left. Now take your screwdriver. Then be careful. If you put your hand down here, you're going to run that screwdriver through it. So reach out here. Get that screwdriver up against that, all the way up in that antler burr. And as you see, it'll pull loose. You have to work it a little bit. It ain't easy. But if you can see this, see it's pulling loose. I usually get to that point and stop, and then go around the other way. Come on around. Be careful, you can tear it. I don't know if you can see this because of the ear there. But anyway. Okay. Now that one is loose all the way around the burr. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Get started here a little bit. Just going to get that screwdriver in there. Sometimes it can be a little trouble to get started, especially on this one. The problem is that you got a little scar right there. You've been rubbing, it makes it hard to get started. Okay, here we go. Hopefully it'll go now. They have these places where they've rubbed and made these scars right on the burr, and sometimes can make it a little difficult to get the skin to release. Just have to work with it. Try to get your knife up in there and get it released. Let's try it again. There it went. Sparky, shut up. Excuse my dog. He gets all upset. Okay, I'm around to the outside over halfway, and I'm gonna kick it here at the back and go the other way. Y'all excuse me just a minute. Come on, Sparky. Come on. Come on. Excuse me. For you, those of you that are watching this, that's gonna take a class or in a class, y'all. If you don't already know, you know all about Sparky, the dog, and Jasmine. Alright, skin's loose from the antlers. And now you're just going to start peeling this loose. Right here. Be careful not to cut your skin there around the antler opening there, because it will cut real easy. Now you're going to go back here, right here at the ear, and you're going to get the ears released. Ears released. Now we're going to go ahead and work on this other one. Trying to keep it where you can see it's a little difficult. Okay. Now both the ears are released. Now you can stand them up like this and just keep working the skin down. Get loose around this antler burr. They can't see this, but I'm just releasing it. It's not away from that burr. There it is now. Okay. Alright, get to this point right here, you're able to pull the skin down. As you can see, we're starting to roll it down now. Get that release, see what I'm doing here. Okay. So now we're up to the eyes. And this is probably, I'd say, the most critical and difficult place when you're first learning is these eyes. They're not hard, it's just a matter of just learning how to do it. Okay, you want to release as much skin as you can up to the eye so it doesn't pull. You always want to work in a circle. If you work in one spot too long, you're going to cut a hole. You got to release the skin around as you go, like I'm doing here. Okay. Now I'm up to the eye socket on both sides. You can tell where the eye socket is by the bone around the eye socket, the orbital bone right there. So you're going to come in here. When you're learning, the best thing to do is stick your finger inside the eye, all the way inside, and just cut against your finger. Of course, naturally you don't want to cut your finger. That keeps you from cutting holes in the skin. But you're cutting, and you're not wanting to get, real aggressive, because you don't want to cut through this yet, that inner eyelid. Okay. Now you can see my finger under there, and you can see, I don't know if you can see it on the video or not, but you can see the white band of the eye right here. So I'm going to pull this skin out and I'm going to cut through it right there. Right there at that white band. You can see it good now. That's the sclera band of the eye. And I'm going to cut through the skin right there, right in front of that sclera band. Okay. Now we're going to stop right there. We're going to get that far on the other side. You can go ahead and do the other side, but like I said, if you work in a circle, you got a lot less chance of cutting holes. Now again, I'm sticking my finger down in this eyelid. I'm cutting right at the back of that eye socket. And in there, you can see my finger right there, pulling that skin out so I can see where the sclera band of the eye is. That's the white. I'm just cutting a little bit till I get down to it, and right there it is, if you can see that. And that's where I'm going to cut through it, right there at that, right at the base of the sclera, that white band of the eye. And now I'm through there. Open up a little bit more. Now I'm going to grab this skin. I'm staying right on the iris of the eye, and I'm going to cut around it, leaving that skin. It's very important you leave that skin. And we'll go all the way around to the front of the eye. Like I said, keep this separated all the time. Come up to the front of the eye. Okay, now we've got to, we don't want to cut out the front of the eye. Right there's the front corner of the eye. And you don't want to cut a hole there. So you're going to grab this skin. This is the nictitating membrane right here. Just grab it and pull out on it. And then cut right against the bone. And you'll see two little holes, little glands, little tear gland holes that will come up. Staying right on that bone. I'm scratching across that bone. And as you can see right here, there's two, hope you can see, there's two little glands right here. Okay. Now, get it released so it doesn't pull. That's very important to keep that released so it doesn't make you cut a hole. Now, this is the orbital gland right here in front of the eye, and it's another place you don't want to cut a hole. So I'm already through down to this cartilage. There's a cartilage that runs in front of the eye. If you can see it, it's right there. Now I'm just going to stay on the bone. As you can see, I'm just sort of spooning that out. I'm getting up under there and staying on the bone and cutting out that gland. Okay. I'm through with that eye. I'm through. I got the whole thing. I'll show you what it looks like here in a little bit. This side, we're going to do the same thing. Release this. Going to grab this skin. You probably can't see it, but I'm doing the very same thing I've done on the other side. Cutting the skin right up against the bone, staying close to the bone so I don't cut through the skin all the way to the front of the eye. In the front of the eye, I'm gonna grab that nictitating membrane, pull out on it, stay right on the bone until I get down to those two little holes, which are tear glands, or it comes out of tear glands. And now I'm gonna do the same thing here, cutting through the cartilage in them. I know you can't see, but I'm scooping this one out just like I did the other. Okay. All right. They're both loose now. So now all I gotta do is just get it off the nose. And off the bottom lip, what we're doing. You see, we've already cut through this, so we're not worried about going too far and cutting into the skin, because it's all the muscles and all, you know, we released those already, so don't have to worry about that. About there. Knife starting to get a little dull. Sure necessity is a sharp knife. All right. Now, see what we got. See, that's the front of the eye where that gland's at right there. As you can see, there's no holes in that. No holes in that one. So that's all there is to a incision. Of course, now we got to clean it up and we got to split everything, and we'll go into more detail of that when we do it. To cut these horns off the skull like this. Now, if we were doing a burr to burr, we'd use that multi-tool and cut with the skin on after we got it opened up enough to get to it. But anyway, you want to take your hacksaw or whatever you're going to use and come right behind that eye orbit and go all the way across, right like that. And if I'm going to use a sawzall, I usually just cut all the way down and just where I can bump this nose and just, it'll be out of the way completely. And then I will go down below the eye socket and cut through right down through here. So I end up with about like that right there. Okay, well, that concludes this video. And hope you learned something.